Hello there everyone, it is Mitsu here and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we will discuss everything related to playing between the lines and exploiting the half spaces. So to make everything very clear from the beginning, let's have a quick presentation to help us distinguish between the two terms. Now, half spaces is a term used when referring to this area on the pitch. On the other hand, playing between the lines is basically positioning your players and creating any sort of danger between the opposition's block. To make it simpler, you can understand this by drawing lines to connect the players of the opposition. Playing between these lines is what this term is used for. It is usually said when a team has the ball between the midfield and defensive lines of their opposition. So let's now move to some in-game examples. To be on the same page, let's remember these areas for now. So Gabriel Jesus received the ball at the half space area, and here is the advantage of that. Notice how he is looking towards the goal, so he can progress the attack easily. But he also has this angle giving him many forward passing options. Now, by keeping the ball with him, he was able to get in between the lines. So he got the advantage of that as well. Now as you can see, the defenders were totally out of shape, and Man City had a 2 vs 2 situation near the penalty area. Moving to another example. Calvin Phillips was asking for the ball at the half spaces between the lines. Whenever you receive the ball in such areas, you would pull the attention of the opposition, which will result in creating spaces for other teammates. In this example, Sterling enjoyed huge spaces since the defenders were pulled out and the midfield line was out of the play. Some managers actually concentrate on giving such roles to specific players. Let's hear more about what Xavi is doing at Barcelona from the Icono coaches.
The pockets, the quadrados, are the spaces that appear in the defensive block, in the opponent defensive block, in between the lines. When a team is defending, between the midfielder line and the defenders, there are some spaces that sometimes are occupied, sometimes are free, that when you attack, as Xavi says, it's very important to take in consideration, because if you can play to that spaces, you can break the defensive organization of the opponent. One of the key ideas when you are in the pockets is to turn your head, to try to perceive what is going on around you, to be able to turn, to be able to face the opening goal.
Thanks to the Icono Coaches Academy for making this possible. You can watch the full analysis by signing up for free right now using the code MitsoJR. Link in the description. Alright, so everything looks good so far. But how do we actually get to those areas? Well, applying high pressure and intercepting the ball as early as possible is a very logical answer. It allows you to get the most out of the bad defensive shape of the opposition. But off-the-ball movement is something that you can control more easily. So as you can see in these examples, the process always depends on a player who doesn't want the ball at first. Then what comes after that is the ability to deliver the ball between the lines. The player who has the ball might choose to dribble past the midfield line to make it easier. If your team was able to do so, you can get multiple players from the opposition out of the play. This will also leave the defenders in trouble, as they will have more than one player to mark and would also attempt going out sometimes to rush the ball owner. But in most cases, finding another player who exploits the spaces that will be created will result in better outcomes. That's why some managers ask specific players to drop down and take the role of the player who will pass the ball. And another player would always scan to know where to be positioned between the lines and how to lose their markers. So to understand the idea of second balls, just imagine a center back kicking the ball out, aiming for a long pass to the forward line. Just after the aerial duel is done, whoever gets the ball after it drops down is considered to have won the second ball. As you can imagine, winning those second balls is really important at the highest levels. This allows your team to get quick advantage of the bad organization of the opposition. Let's have a look at some in-game examples to have a better understanding of this. While you watch these examples, just keep in mind that winning those second balls can be done anywhere on the pitch. But as you can tell, it becomes way more effective if you win them at the half spaces and between the lines. Basically, the logic behind it comes from the fact that when playing this long ball, you are already getting multiple players from the opposition out of the play. So the ball will pass all the forwards, and most of the time it will pass the midfield line as well. Now you are left with, let's say, 4 defenders. Every time one of them will be responsible to challenge for the aerial duel. So the other 3 defenders with whoever is back from the midfield line is now responsible to win the second ball. But also mark any forward runs in the spaces that have been created. And that's not simple. You can sometimes think that it is a counter-attacking situation, although it might actually be, as some coaches go for this style to counter the high pressure. Now, the target man is the name given to the player who is responsible to receive these long balls and set them up for their teammates. It's also known as the station. Traditionally, coaches used the old school striker to perform this role, but nowadays, and as you can see in these examples, different players get this role depending on the matches and on the situation. You will want to train on different scenarios to get the most out of this concept. So whenever this target man is there to win the ball, you can decide how you want to distribute your players around him to get different types of attacks. As a short attacker, for example, you might just want to challenge the defender to make sure they are off balance and that your teammates have a good chance of getting the advantage of a mispass. In other cases, you might choose to direct the pass from the target man or the station to focus on the gaps or the weaknesses of the opposition. So it all depends on how you look at it depending on the game plan. The same concepts will apply when defending. So as a defender, you will want to actually pass the ball to your defensive midfielder, for example. You do not want to win the aerial duel only, but you want to keep the possession of the ball as well. You can also apply this concept when using the gegenpressing or the counter pressure. Once the opposition clears the ball away, you target the possible passing options and concentrate on winning the second balls and try to perform the counter-attack. Some other times the keeper would clear the ball out, but it doesn't reach the forward line. So you'll want to keep the possession of the ball and try to build the attack again. Now you need to make sure you do not lose this second ball, as it will result in a direct counter-attack. So how do you figure out the possible passing options when you own the possession of the ball? Well, you need to learn how to scan the pitch with the ball. Luckily, I've made a full video on raising the head while owning the possession, and you can watch it by clicking on the screen right now. Do not also forget to sign up for free at the Kono Coaches Academy using the code MitsoJR. The link will be in the description. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.